This is the new 2022 Ford Maverick, a brand new small pickup truck by Ford. In this video, we are going over the top 10 things you need to know, and you're probably not going to believe number one. Number 10. What is a Ford Maverick? Well, it's a compact pickup truck. Currently, the smallest truck in the Ford lineup is the Ranger. The Maverick is quite a bit smaller than a Ranger. If we look at overall length, this vehicle is right around 200 inches, which makes this nearly a foot shorter than the Ford Ranger. It's nice and compact, small, great for tight environments. The Maverick will be sold in just one bed and cab configuration. This is it, a 4-door, 5-seater cab and a 4.5-foot bed. So is this the return of the mini truck? Some 30-40 years ago, manufacturers like Ford, Chevrolet, Isuzu, Toyota, they were all building really compact trucks. But over the years, these vehicles have grown and grown and grown, and now the current Ranger, the current Tacoma are pretty large. This Maverick slots in underneath those vehicles. I think it looks pretty cool. Or perhaps this is more of a replacement to something like a Ranchero or an El Camino, a car-based pickup truck. Whatever it is, let me know in the comment section below because I'm pretty excited for a smaller crop of trucks. Number 9, the platform. This new Maverick is related to vehicles such as the Ford Escape and the Bronco Sport. It rides on the Ford C2 architecture. Now all that means is that the Ford Maverick is a unibody vehicle. Unlike the Ranger or the F-150 or the Super Duty that ride on a ladder frame with the body bolted on top, the body on the Maverick is integral to the structure. This is similar to vehicles like the Honda Ridgeline and the upcoming Hyundai Santa Cruz. Now because of this unibody integrated construction, you might notice there is no division between the bed and the cab like you'd find on something such as the Ranger. But just because it's unibody doesn't mean that this thing doesn't have insane payload specs. More on that later. Number 8, the Ford Maverick will come standard as a hybrid. And I don't mean some mild hybrid system, I mean a full hybrid. Now being a hybrid, the Maverick combines both gasoline and electric technology. So under the hood is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, similar to what you'd find in the Ford Escape hybrid. That makes 162 horsepower by itself. In the rear of the vehicle is a 1.1 kilowatt-hour liquid-cooled battery. Now the total system output is 191 horsepower when you combine both the gasoline and the electric power systems. The torque output for the hybrid system is 155 pound-feet of torque. Compared to the Escape hybrid, the Maverick has a slightly beefed up electrical system. So for example, in the Escape hybrid, the electric motor makes 80 kilowatts. In this vehicle, it makes 90 kilowatts. All this power is sent through the front wheels via an electronically controlled, continuously variable transmission. The big benefit of this standard hybrid system, of course, the fuel economy. Ford is targeting an EPA estimated 40 mpg in the city. That's right, 40 in a pickup truck. Ford said the Maverick hybrid will hit 0 to 60 miles an hour in 8.6 seconds. And of course, being a hybrid, you get the benefits of regenerative braking. The engine, the gasoline engine, will turn on and off automatically. You can potentially run this thing at low speed in electricity only. It's pretty cool stuff. The Maverick hybrid will have a 15-gallon fuel tank, and official fuel economy numbers will come closer to launch. The Maverick hybrid is only available in front-wheel drive with the CVT. However, there is another option. If you are looking for a little bit more capability, you can spec the Maverick with a 2-liter turbocharged gasoline engine. Now this option loses the hybrid system altogether. It's similar to what you'd find in the Ford Bronco Sport. This engine makes 250 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque, and it doesn't have the CVT like the hybrid. Instead, it has an 8-speed automatic. You can get the 2-liter turbo in both front-wheel and all-wheel drive as well. So if you're looking for a little bit more capability in the snow, perhaps a little bit more off-road worthiness, you can get the 2-liter with all-wheel drive. Ford says the turbocharged version of this truck will go from 0 to 60 miles an hour in about 7.8 seconds. So almost a full second quicker than the hybrid version. Number 6, the Ford Maverick has a 4.5-foot bed, but it's got some pretty clever engineering. Let's go ahead and check it out. First of all, when you open up the tailgate, the total usable length extends to 6 feet, which can be handy for bicycles or maybe even a dirt bike. Ford calls this the flex bed, and they do tell me a 4x8 sheet of plywood will fit on top of the wheel wells. Add to that the fact that you can actually position the tailgate in a couple of different areas. In theory, you could run a piece of plywood out here, have it stay on top of this tailgate nice and flat, and you can see that the tailgate cables will actually move up here to the latches. They've been designed to work like that. Now the bed in the Maverick is a steel construction. It's not a composite bed like you'd find on something such as the Toyota Tacoma, and it also has tie downs throughout. Ford says that these tie downs are rated up to 1,100 pounds, just like they would be in a Ford Super Duty. You'll also notice these cutouts in the side of the bed if you want to create your own divider system, and Ford has also included a 400 watt inverter back here. Another interesting thing in the back of the Maverick has to do with the power supply. So Ford was noticing that customers were often tapping into the 12-volt supply, maybe from the taillights, to feed accessories. So they've actually done that for you. There's now an integrated 12-volt power supply on its own fuse that you can tap into if you want to power things off of 12 volts. Number 5, capability. Ford says that the hybrid Maverick with front-wheel drive can tow a maximum of 2,000 pounds. However, if you get the 2-liter gasoline turbo engine, there is a max tow group available, which will allow you to tow up to 4,000 pounds. In terms of axle ratio, the standard Maverick has 363s, the max tow 381s. So you can see how the receiver is integrated here in the Maverick. It appears to be easily accessible with, of course, the points for the recovery chains, which appear to be better integrated than some of the other Ford trucks I've seen. Here, of course, is the wiring connection right there. Now, the other cool thing about the Maverick, if you get the max tow group, the one that can tow up to 4,000 pounds, it also has an integrated trailer brake controller. You're probably thinking, do I need a brake controller for 4,000 pounds? Well, believe it or not, in a lot of states, yes, you do. It's, of course, a safety thing. The big standout number, though, when it comes to capability is the payload rating. The Maverick Hybrid has up to 1,500 pounds of payload capability. That's a lot. When you look at the Ranger, in a lot of cases, Rangers are also in that territory, 1,500 to 1,600 pounds, and this is much smaller than a Ranger. It's not uncommon to see mid-sized trucks with well under 1,000 pounds of payload rating. So 1,500 is super impressive. And the other cool thing about the Maverick is you can put the entire payload in the bed. Obviously not the driver, but minus the weight of the driver, you can place the entire payload in the bed. If we look at this vehicle's competition, like the Hyundai Santa Cruz, Hyundai says you can only put about 600 pounds or so in the bed, so that's a pretty big advantage for the Ford. Number 4, all-wheel drive and off-road capability. If you get the Maverick in all-wheel drive, once again, you can only get the all-wheel drive with a turbocharged engine. The Maverick has a single-speed transfer case, and it's a similar setup to what you'd find in the Ford Bronco Sport. Now, unlike the Bronco Sport, if you get a Badlands Bronco Sport, you've got this crazy rear diff with this twin clutch setup. The Maverick can only be had with a single clutch setup in the rear end, so maybe not the same levels of capability, but we'll get it out on the trails to find out what that's like. The good news is, though, there is an optional FX4 package. Here's what that gets you. The FX4 package includes exposed front tow hooks. It gives you underbody protection, updated suspension, 2 choices of tire, including a Falcon Wild Peak option. The FX4 also has different drive modes, so if you get that FX4 off-road package, you lose a sport mode, but you gain a mud and ruts mode. You also lose the eco mode, but you gain a sand mode. Total ground clearance with the all-wheel drive version is right around 8.6 inches. Total ground clearance with the front-wheel drive version is 8.3. Number 3, the interior. Now, the inside of the Maverick is very different than something like a Ranger or an F-150 or even a Super Duty. I really like the use of interesting plastics, materials, and just the overall design. It feels very youthful, very adventurous. Now, for example, this white material almost looks like a granite. You see it here on the door panels, you see it on the dashboard. The infotainment screen is an 8-inch system, looks pretty good, and I like the little cubby next to it. It does have the rotary shifter that you see in the middle. Steering wheel, pretty similar to what you'd find on like a Ranger. This one, of course, has the conventional gauges as well. Pretty roomy on the inside. A lot of integrated safety tech as standard as well, so looking pretty good on the inside. Very interesting seats on this XLT. This is a hybrid XLT you're looking at right now. Almost looks like a dark blue denim with the orange stitching and then kind of this gray upholstery up top. It is all fabric, but looks and feels high quality. Now, stepping into the back seat, this is roughly my driving position at 6'1". Well, honestly, I don't fit as tight as I thought I would. Headroom feels very good. Knee room is definitely acceptable. I like how they scalloped out the back of the front seats. And there's some other cool stuff back here. Check out what happens when you lift up the seat cushion. So on this truck, the Maverick Hybrid, interestingly enough, the 12-volt battery lives right about here. So you do lose some under-seat storage, but super deep bins back here. Really usable. I could see this being very handy for you know, people adventuring and going out, and even just general storage. If you get the non-hybrid, the 12-volt battery is relocated underneath the hood. But the cool thing is the high voltage battery in the hybrid is completely out of the way. It's tucked up underneath, so you don't have to deal with it. Now, some other interesting aspects I've noticed on the interior of the Maverick: tons of storage cubbies. They've really emphasized places to put things. Very deep and usable door bins in the Maverick. Lots of little cubbies throughout the inside here. Very, very large center armrests. They said they put places to incorporate like 1-liter bottles, stuff like that. And you can definitely feel that. I also like these little exposed screw heads you see throughout. So there's some here in front of the passenger on the dashboard. They've incorporated it down here in the door. Seats feel pretty good comfort-wise. Like I said, love the material. This XLT trim, of course, does have heated seats and a heated steering wheel, as well as automatic climate control. Yeah, it's looking pretty good in here. I mean, it's definitely a little tighter than something like a Ford Ranger. But the view out the front, you've got this big kind of sculpted hood, which is pretty cool. Rotary shifter, it's worth noting as well. Some people love the rotary, some people dislike it. Volume and tune knob. This XLT still has a conventional key. The new Ford Maverick is going to be available in 3 trims: XL, XLT, and Lariat. Actually 4 trims. There's also a first edition, kind of like a launch edition. That's going to be bright red, race red with the black roof and these cool wheels. Excited to see what that looks like in person. Now, competition-wise, currently there's only one other compact truck coming to market. That is the Hyundai Santa Cruz. We're going to have to wait and see if GM responds, maybe if Stellantis responds, maybe if Subaru does something. But currently, yeah, Maverick and Santa Cruz. Now, comparing the Maverick to the Santa Cruz, there's still a lot we don't know. Hyundai does say that the Santa Cruz is able to tow up to 5,000 pounds, which is 1,000 pounds more than the Ford. It also has slightly more power in its biggest engine. Now, it doesn't have the standard hybrid, but it does have an integrated bed trunk. We're going to have to get both of these together and see how they compare side by side. The Ford Maverick will be assembled in Mexico alongside its cousin, the Bronco Sport. And then we come to number 1, pricing and availability. So the Maverick is going to start at, wait for it, under $20,000, $19,995. That would make this more affordable than something like a base Honda Civic for a pickup truck with a hybrid. That would also make this, I believe, the cheapest hybrid on sale. It's also a pickup truck, but just period, like the most affordable hybrid. We're gonna have to wait and see if that remains true when this vehicle launches in fall of 2021. Now, I asked what the high pricing was. They wouldn't exactly tell me, but they would say typical to your average car. So I'm interpreting that as like maybe mid-30s is where I think it's gonna top out at, but starting at under $20,000. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild indeed. Now let me know what you think in the comments section below of the Ford Maverick. As always, this has been Tommy with the Fastlane Truck. Check out tfltruck.com for the latest and greatest in new vehicle reveals and reviews.